Hi, this is going to be a solo tutorial. I am going to be running What Lies Beneath the Darkness. This is a solo and semi-competitive RPG. That is, you can play it with others in a somewhat of a faction war type of situation, but you can also play it solo. This solo tutorial will be instructional within the scenes, but I am still going to be role-playing the different scenes. I will try to make it as clear as possible when I am role-playing as the character. Let's talk about this character. All of this happens in the city of Raven's Watch. It is a Victorian-esque city with some steampunk elements. The theme in general is horror and intrigue. The character is Dimitri Draco. He is of 18 years old. He has this appearance of a French clown, like a Pierrot, so like an elegant clown. He has small black triangles in his eyes, painted upon his eyes, the eyelids, the cheeks. His colors are mostly black, red, and yellow. He has a top hat. His horror is that he is a cryptic witch. The horror is basically your set of superpowers. As a horror type of character, you could be a werewolf, a vampire, things like that. But I obtained cryptic witch. He can create greater illusions and some minor manifestations. He was born with it, and he was rejected because of his powers. His persona is that he is a charming street performer. He is not well respected, but he is welcome due to his entertainment value because of his entertainer skills, due to his illusions. His amulet is the Goblet of Blight. It protects him from losing his mind due to the illusions. His faction is the Circle of the Last Brother. Arcibaldo took him in for his talents. Arcibaldo is the leader of the faction. All of this was randomly determined. His hunger is revenge. During a faction war, someone caused the death of his pet rat Gully. Cannon fire. The rat was killed. This actually paralyzed Dimitri. But Arcibaldo came to his rescue. He pulled him out of the way, out of the fire, out of the enemy gunfire and whatnot. So Arcibaldo saved his life. And now he serves Arcibaldo. He still doesn't know if Arcibaldo did it because he was a very nice person or he wanted his Dimitri's power for the Last Brother faction, for the Circle of the Last Brother. Perhaps that will be revealed during the course of this session. This is going to be a one-shot. In the game, if you are failing in your tasks, you could gain corruption. Corruption represents your horror powers taking over your character. In my case, I imagine that Dimitri's illusions will take over his mind and he will start to think that his illusions are real. I have to avoid obtaining 6 horror corruption points, or that's the end for the character. If you need more details about this tabletop RPG, please check out the review in the description. When it comes to the agenda, I have personal and faction goals. If I reach some of those goals during the scenes, I can tick the places on the character sheet, and they can actually serve to remove corruption from my character if needed. So I want to fulfill my personal and faction objectives as well. Now, how do you play this? It's very simple. You create your first mission, you run the matrix to start the mission, you establish the challenge, you frame the scene with elements and details. All of this is determined by rolling on the tables. You perform your actions. You check the oracle if needed, the typical yes or no. Because we are going to be role-playing, we're not going to be asking questions. We're going to be, I look around for an exit. So I make the roll. You are looking for the unlikely result. Perhaps you obtain a negative result, something that you are not looking for, which would be the common result. This works similar to Mythic, somewhat. And I want to push the roll for that unlikely result. It could result in misfortune. So it's a bit of a risk. When the scene ends, I see if the mission was fulfilled, if the main objective was successful, if you reached it. But if not, the loop starts again. The loop is very easy to understand. Rolling on the matrix, establishing the challenge, framing the scene, performing your actions, checking the oracle, and starting over. Let's figure out the mission first. My faction needs me to destroy an entity before the enemy destroys a resource. That makes me think that I need to destroy the Lord of Blights. Because the enemy is controlling him, or summoning him rather. The enemy has made a pact with the Lord of Blights, and he is destroying the crops that feed the city of Ravenswatch. Now I roll to determine the rest of the mission, because this would cause the loss of a location of the city itself. This mission is very important. The city is at risk because the Lord of Blights, that according to the pact made with another faction, we have yet to discover which faction, he is destroying the crops around the city and people will starve, including my faction. Now I roll on the matrix to establish that first scene. The first fairy death in 100 years. That ties perfectly. The first scene has to do with discussing the death of a fairy. Because of the blight, obviously. Now I roll to determine the challenge. It is a contest. The details. Light and time. I am going to be giving you instructions how to proceed with a solo RPG, but I am going to be role-playing. And so it begins. Dimitri finds himself within a pocket dimension that resembles an elegant studio. Arcibaldo is pacing back and forth, holding a scroll in his hands. He speaks to Dimitri. The death of a fairy. How could this be? This is related to the workings of the Lord of Blights. Dimitri, I have summoned here most of my agents, but you are the one that I will entrust with this mission. As Dimitri, I speak. But why, Arcibaldo? My powers, they are significant, but investigating the death of a fairy against the Lord of Blights himself, shouldn't you ask for the help of Piotr? He is a firecaster. I'm sure that he can... Arcibaldo interrupts Dimitri. No, Dimitri, no. You are the one. This mission requires subtlety. I have seen you. With your dagger, with your pistol, your illusions and manifestations, you will get to the bottom of this. As Dimitri, I say, Very well, Arcibaldo. I will try my best. Where should I go? I roll on the oracle. I am considering that Arcibaldo is going to request Dimitri to head into the field outside. I just needed to roll one die. I rolled another die by mistake. It is unlikely. I will push the roll even if there is a consequence. Oh, there is a misfortune. Arcibaldo speaks. Dimitri, I want you to go into the south section of the sewers. As Dimitri, I speak. The south section? But Arcibaldo, what is in that? Arcibaldo replies. It is the most dangerous section of the sewers, Dimitri, but that's why I put my trust upon you. I know that you can handle things. Because of your skill. Go forth. You must stop these workings of the Lord of the Blights. Investigate within the sewers. Find someone with information. You know that the couriers of many factions use that place to get from one section of the city to the other. As Dimitri, I speak. Very well, Arcibaldo, I will go, and I will find out the truth, even at the cost of my life. I always remember when you saved me from dying back then, and I will obtain my revenge. For golly, Arcibaldo interrupts Dimitri. Dimitri, it is admirable that you search for revenge, but remember that you must give priority to our objective. To our mission. Everything for our faction, Dimitri. For the circle of the last brother. As Dimitri, I reply. Very well, Arcibaldo. I will head out. As Dimitri, I step out of the dimensional pockets. I make my way through the streets until I find the manhole. That is a common entrance for the South Sewers section. I remove the lid as silently and carefully as possible and descend into the sewers. Dimitri steps through the grime and shit-infested environment. The waters stink horribly. As Dimitri goes around the West Bend, he finds a man dressed in black robes with the mask of a fox. He is just staring at Dimitri. As Dimitri, I say, identify yourself, man. I don't have time for games. I roll on the oracle to see if the man replies. The man with the mask speaks. Ah, finally I meet the famous Dimitri Draco. As Dimitri, I reply. Enough with your games. I need to find a way to stop the Lord of Blights. It is a danger for everyone in the city, including you. The individual replies. Very well, but first, you must impress me. As Dimitri, I speak. Impress you? What do you mean? He replies, just impress me. using my powers of illusion, I create a dragon behind the individual, spewing out fire, and I manifest a small flame on the very edge of the individual's robe. I roll to see if this is successful. It is a success. The individual turns around and staggers before the illusionary fire as it engulfs him. He shakes around, uncertain, looking at his arms, and then he notices the flame going up his robe. He yelps, "Ah! Oh!" Starts to put out the fire. After he's done, he looks at Dimitri and speaks. "You pass. Follow me. Let's speak in a safer location." As Dimitri, with my hand close to my dagger, I follow the man. And the scene ends. Now, I check the objectives. I fulfilled an objective, a personal objective, which is displaying the power of the horror, my illusions. When it comes to faction objectives, nothing of value yet. And the mission, of course, has not yet been fulfilled. I don't know how to stop or cancel destroy the Lord of Blights. Now I roll on the matrix. We are starting the loop to see the next scene. The infested sewers hide an ancient creature. I didn't make this up. How convenient that we have the infested sewers. So the infested sewers hide an ancient creature. What's the challenge? Endurance. And the details? Impression, opinion. The individual wearing the fox mask leads Dimitri through a series of tunnels. The tunnels are maze-like until finally reaching a secret room disguised as part of the wall. It was also an illusion, as the man dispels it and gestures for Dimitri to step in. As Dimitri, I speak. "You first, my good fellow. What is your name?" The man steps in and without turning back replies, "You may call me the Fox." As Dimitri, I reply, "Ah, yes, because of the mask. Fox, very clever. Yeah." The man motions for Dimitri to sit in front of a table. As Dimitri, I take a seat. The man speaks. "You cannot see it, but there is a creature in front of you, on top of the table." As Dimitri, I reply, "What? Can I touch?" He is interrupted by the fox. Wait. I have been informed by what your faction seeks, the destruction of the Lord of Lights. But you must prove yourself. The knowledge that I will be giving you is not for the unworthy. Brace yourself as you extend your hand over the table. The creature is going to take a little bite at you. If you manage to resist for 5 seconds, just without pulling your hand away, I will give you the information you seek. As Dimitri, I reply, "What if I lose my hand? What is this trickery?" The fox replies, "The damage does not happen to the body itself, but rather the soul. You may end up losing a portion of it, but perhaps you will gain it back. It's a small price to pay for the information that I will give you." As Dimitri, I create an illusion that I am extending my hand, but it is an illusionary hand. It is a success. I extend my illusionary hand, and then I smile at the fox. The fox is shaking. You should be screaming in pain. You are very powerful. As Dimitri, I reply, "You know, I can still spend a minute or two like this. This is nothing." "Ah, no, that is enough. I don't want you to lose all of your soul in the process." As Dimitri, I pull back my illusionary hand. "I will give you the information that you seek. You must find the grimoire of the last lament. You will find it in the Cathedral of the Purple Rose. You know where that is located, I am certain." As Dimitri, I think back to my knowledge of the city. I use the oracle to determine if I know where the cathedral is located. "Yes, I have heard of the place. Thank you, my good fox. Now, could you guide me outside of this labyrinth of yours?" "Yes, certainly. My faction, the wildlife faction, will be pleased to work with your agents. Most impressive." The scene ends. Now I check to see if I have fulfilled some objectives. I have obtained a valuable asset in the case of the information, but also the promise of help by this faction of the wildlife. I didn't obtain or reach any objectives of my personal agenda, so I won't tick that box or that circle. Now I roll to determine the next scene. Raptor, a narcotic that opens the aether. Raptor narcotic. I roll to establish the challenge. Puzzle. And the details. Smells and sounds. As Dimitri, I make my way towards the cathedral. I enter it. Dimitri is suddenly assailed by a horrifying smell. Dimitri recognizes the smell as the narcotic raptor. Dimitri's senses are almost lost to oblivion. As Dimitri, I steady myself and start to support my body on the closest structure. The walls, the pews, the plinths, anything that I can reach within the cathedral. Dimitri stumbles about, and he can hear a voice, although he is uncertain if the voice is the product of the narcotic or someone speaking from the shadows. I roll to see what this question is about. I am taking the most unlikely outcome. A riddle concerning the grimoire. It is an unlikely outcome. The voice asks, "Where was the king killed?" As Dimitri, I reply, "King? What king?" I use the oracle to see if the voice answers. I'm pushing the roll because it is unlikely. It is likely. I am looking for the unlikely result. It is a success. "The king that you serve, where did he die?" As Dimitri, I reply, "I serve no king, I only serve Arcibaldo." There were rumors of Arcibaldo being killed. Do you mean to say that Arcibaldo was killed and I have been dealing with an impostor all along? The voice does not reply, and the effects of the narcotic go away. As Dimitri, I regain my composure, check to see if I have my dagger and pistol still on me. I roll on the oracle to see if that is possible, if that happened. It is a success. As Dimitri, I run out of the cathedral in a hurry and head towards Arcibaldo. Now I check to see, because the scene has ended, if I have reached some sort of objective or personal agenda. Not at all, not a single one. So I will have to go with my 2 objectives. It seems that Arcibaldo has been lying. That is not actually Arcibaldo. Let's roll on the matrix. Obadiah, the vampire lord, goes missing. This makes me think that Obadiah is actually the imposter. That's why he was missing. He has been playing the role of Dimitri all along. Of Arcibaldo, excuse me. Now I roll to establish the challenge. Contest. The details. Actions, movement. It makes sense. As Dimitri makes his way towards the entrance, into the pocket dimension that Arcibaldo uses as his hideout. He notices that the portal is already open. As Dimitri, I run as fast as possible with my dagger on my right hand and my pistol on my left and step through the portal. Dimitri finds himself inside the pocket dimension studio or study. Arcibaldo is standing there, giving his back to Dimitri. Arcibaldo speaks. Dimitri, I trust that you come with good news on how to stop the Lord of the... Dimitri interrupts him. You are that missing vampire lord, are you not? You are Obadiah. Show yourself, you fiend! Obadiah turns around. Now completely changed. His face, a monstrous visage that combines features of a human and a monstrous bat. Obadiah speaks. So you saw through my little act. Now, Dimitri, I actually hold the grimoire in my hands. This is what you seek. This is the source of the power of the Lord of Lights. And what am I doing by telling you this? Well, by standing in this sacred enclosure that I have created, this profane place of diabolical gatherings. Now you have fallen into the most devious of traps. As Dimitri, I reply, what do you mean, you fucking fiend? Patience. This room is actually the birthplace of the Lord of Blights. I reply, what? But he's a powerful demon from ages ago. What do you mean? Obadiah replies, he is actually an artificial demon created with this same grimoire. The moment you stepped in, it was your loss. Now, you're actually within the bowels of the creature. Dimitri replies, I am not being digested. You are lying. What is this all about? Obadiah, with a sneer, replies, but you soon will be. It's effectively the same thing. As Dimitri, I create thousands of grimoires floating all over the place. And I shoot with my pistol at the grimoire that Obadiah is holding. I'm pushing my roll. A success. The bullet knocks the grimoire off of the hands of Obadiah. As Dimitri, I lunge at the grimoire, moving the other grimoires around, confusing Obadiah. Obadiah snarls and lunges towards the grimoire, jumps at the grimoire that has fallen, but all of the floating grimoires confuse him. He's suddenly snatching and clawing and grabbing and grasping at grimoires made out of thin air. I take the grimoire and I stab at it with my knife as Dimitri. No, you fool! What are you doing? Thunder is heard. The entire dimension is collapsing. This mockery of a studio is dissolving. As Dimitri, I run and hurry back towards the entrance and create a small block of metal just as I am running. Dimitri easily jumps through the exit, and as Obadiah follows, he notices the block of metal created by Dimitri. "Ah, another illusion, you fool! You cannot trick!" and smashes himself against it. Dimitri finds himself outside, and with all of his arcane power, as Dimitri, I close the portal using all of my knowledge of illusions and magic. I manifest a mirroring portal that swallows that portal itself. This takes all of Dimitri's power, and he collapses as the exit from the dimensional enclosed space disappears. I roll on the matrix just to determine the outcome of this. A long-forgotten covenant offers a pact. Dimitri wakes up to the feeling of cold water on his face. As Dimitri, I gasp. I look around everywhere. Dimitri finds himself surrounded by individuals in brown hoods. One of them steps forward and reveals his face, a fox mask. "Dimitri, you always impress me. As your old friend the fox, I have certain information regarding the killer of your pet. Would you like to know?" And we are now out of character. This is the end of the scenario. This seems perfect for a continuing campaign. Although I am quite busy at the moment, I just wanted this to be like a one-shot. But it was quite exciting. I think I got lucky with a few rolls. I didn't suffer any corruption whatsoever, in fact. That's great. Things would have been a bit more difficult. And I managed to reach some of my objectives, my personal and faction objectives. When it comes to running a solo RPG, you need to have that mindset of shifting from game master to player. You can roleplay. Don't, can my character see the grimoire in the vampire? No. Go with the context. If there is some sort of doubt, if there is something, make your rolls using the oracles. If you need inspiration, make your rolls. When it comes to your... If you are running the What Lies Beneath the Darkness role-playing game, you have several tables here to provide inspiration. Go with the flow. Go with the context, with the logic. Do not hesitate. Keep things flowing. And that's why I said in a video about a year ago or more that I go against the solo method of coming up with who knows how many outcomes and then choosing the right one. I think that stalls things a lot because that's the method. For example, there are some good considerations when it comes to the writings of Kenny Norris. He has some free books in Drive-Thru RPG, but one of the things that I didn't like about his method, is that he says that you should write like 20 different outcomes and choose the more, the desirable outcome. But imagine just every single scene, writing all of that and then choosing the right one. No, go with the first one. It's so fun. It's so alive, so organic. He also wanted to design everything beforehand. I prefer to dynamically create things on the go. Perhaps you could pre-generate a few key things, key elements, but that's it, like the mission. You see, before we started to play, we established the mission. You need to stop the Lord of the Blights, blah, blah, blah. But everything else was so organic. So for those of you that are still having doubts or questions about how you roleplay in a solo RPG, very easy, just use those tables, get into the duty of the dungeon master, game master, referee, step into the in character role, the role of the player, and continue that back and forth, back and forth. You can do it in your mind, you can write some things on your notebook, you can record things. I hope the volume was okay, because the microphone, I had to rearrange a lot of things for this setup. I actually wanted to use daylight for this encounter, for this session, but it's been raining and it's been very cloudy, so I needed to place a lamp here and turn on the light. There have been some storms. I am thankful that the light didn't go off. Sometimes there is thunder and you get a blackout. And you saw in the middle, like, the lights were flickering for a moment. But everything went great. If you have any questions or comments about this or any other solo role-playing game, session, running a solo game, let me know. It's all about the experience. As Dimitri, I felt myself there. I was nervous, I was angry, and when it comes to being the dungeon master, game master, I was still, well, not describing in full detail because everything was in my mind, but I still hope this video served as an instruction, as a tutorial on how to run a solo RPG with actual roleplay. Like, can I, rolling to see, can I use the ability? So it looks like no. Besides the instructional moments that I roll on the table to check, I roll on the oracle, besides those things, always in character as the player character, and as the dungeon master or game master, also running things like you would normally, with the difference that you are not describing things for someone else, you are describing things for yourself. So how cool is that? The description is perfect in your head, but I still hope that those small details still helped you, assisted you in painting a picture of what was going on. Thank you for watching this solo tutorial session. Thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, roleplay solves everything. Once again, thank you and see you later.